Hi, welcome to the Leadership During Crisis Online Summit series. Thank you for taking your time to watch these episodes. Please remember to subscribe at our YouTube channel, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook under Leadership During Crisis. How has the digital marketing landscape changed since the onset of COVID-19?
The whole digital marketing landscape has indeed changed quite a bit. Allow me to share what I mean here. So, for most brands, right, we have been doing digital marketing for a while. They actually sort of have figured out the whole consumer journey, right? When I say consumer journey, it means that maybe someone needs to watch a YouTube video and then a Facebook video, and then they may need to see a testimonial on Instagram, followed by a video on YouTube. So before they will actually do a conversion, they may even need to see an article that's being written and so on. So actually for many brands who have been doing digital marketing, right, we have actually built the whole conversion funnel already with the consumer journey. And that journey has changed significantly during this period. So the way we invest and the whole strategy, the action plan, where we put our investment in the whole funnel actually has changed quite a bit. And interestingly, it really varies between different brands. For my role as a digital marketer, we got to really quickly figure out the new consumer journey. I think that's the one that really, on a holistic level, we really see the difference there. Like what we chat earlier, right? Some businesses are striving, some businesses are suffering. Actually, not all are suffering and not all are striving. So we really see the contrast here.
So, Adrian, could you give me an example that maybe you're able to share on how this consumer journey has changed comparatively to previously?
Sure. So for example, we may have one client that as part of the entire consumer journey, one of the winning formula as the third step was to actually bring the potential customer to the store, to the physical store to redeem samples. Actually, the redemption of the sample is a very critical component because the beauty advisor, for example, at the physical store will be able to do what they need to do, right? And to actually communicate and really do the further explanation and all that. And we realize that for this particular product, actually that is such a crucial piece in the whole puzzle to actually complete the consumer journey. But when this whole COVID hits, right, they can't do that, right? I think more than 10 physical outlets have to be closed. But, life still have to go on, right? So we really got to figure out how to overcome this samples redemption. Yeah. It may sound very simple to say, hey, no big deal, right? We just mail the samples to them, but it's really not like that, right? After you mail to them, do they really get it? Will they really use it? And when is a good time to check with them if they have used it? And how can we get feedback? And so on and so forth. So I think this is probably a classic example that I can share with you. Yeah.
Right. So for your point of view, currently, what are your 3 tips for succeeding in a digital marketing campaign? And I would like to ask you from 2 perspectives. One, if it is a B2C consumer journey. The second one, if it is a B2B consumer journey.
I may want to answer it in its entirety as well. So you mentioned what are the top 3 tips, right, to succeed in a digital marketing campaign. So having do this for more than 10 years, I think if I have to, there are so many things to say, but if it's the top 3 tips, right, I think the first one is so important, which is we really have a good product or a good service or a good message to digital market, right? I think, when you have a product or service or even a message that you really wanted to advocate, right, what is the value that it is given to the society? I think that element is so important. I mean, not everything is suitable for digital marketing. Yeah, sometimes the product just is not competitive at all and all that. It just wouldn't work. Now, when I talk about a good product, right, I also wanted to share this. It's really not just about how fast, how better, or how cheap it is. I think in digital marketing campaign, right, one of the most important things we should do is to add intrinsic value to the product. There's a reason why people is willing to pay 3 times to buy the same phone, right, with the same specs. So I think creating the intrinsic value as part of the whole digital marketing campaign is a very important consideration. So a very, very good product, service, or message that gives value to the society. That's actually my first tip. So you've got to evaluate that offering. Second is really the conversion funnel, right? The whole consumer journey. I think having a very good consumer journey, a strategy to actually craft the whole conversion funnel framework is actually very important. And as what we discussed earlier, right? Actually, the consumer journey really varies between different industries. And I think the ability to find out the consumer journey of that particular product or brand is very important. So that requires a lot of digital marketing skills. The last one, maybe a very good team. Yeah. So from a larger corporation perspective, right, it's not easy to do digital marketing alone. I think I'm still seeing a lot of people to say, hey, I employ a digital marketer. Oh, that's it, done, right? Anything from creating assets to doing a media buy, create website, the back end, something wrong also is issue, right? Actually, it's not really like that. I think it is a whole team coming together. And also, for example, let's say for us, we're an agency, we work with a client. Sometimes it's not just our direct client, but her boss, boss. Are we all aligned in the objective that we want to achieve together as a team? So I think the quality of the team, is probably my third tip, to have a very good team. Yeah. Now, when it comes to individual, right, is it really possible for one individual to execute a good digital marketing campaign? I think the person has to be really, really good and have a lot of time. Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah. That's my honest opinion. Yeah.
So if someone who is an individual and they have no choice but to really pivot digitally right now because of COVID-19, then what would be your suggestion for the person to do it if they cannot do it alone?
I guess that also relates back to the next question, right? Which is also what skill set,
Yes.
should one pick up to do well in the digital landscape? What makes up a good digital marketer? Let's call this person, a digital marketer. This gets bigger as you become a more and more competent digital marketer. But I think there are generally 5 sets of skills now that's actually quite important. Of course, you don't have to be expert in all 5, and perhaps certain things is more important. So I think at the very top, maybe I want to talk about is the techniques. So actually the techniques of digital marketing is really very important. When I say techniques, it's like what we went through together, right? All your Facebook, IG, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok maybe, and things like that. So it's all these different techniques via the whole digital platform. And perhaps I would even want to say that whether you are a digital native, I think that's also something quite important, being digital savvy and a digital native. Now, what do I mean by that? I think if today you don't enjoy consuming content on Instagram, perhaps digital marketing may not be suitable for you. I don't need to be fascinated or addicted to it, but you should be quite enjoying, consuming content on all these different digital platforms and all that. So generally, I think technique is quite important. And moving forward, right, like what are the other 4 skills? I think the other one is actually video skills. So video is quite important. And then, we continue to have the graphic design, right? The graphic design space. And then, of course, we have the tech space. So here we're probably talking about, for example, web programming. And I think the last one important winning formula is really the domain knowledge. When I say domain knowledge, right, it depends on what industry are you in. So for example, if you are doing digital marketing in healthcare, I think the domain knowledge that you have in healthcare will really help you greatly as a digital marketer. And today, right, if we look at this whole shape here, I think the technique part has to be really very good. So you can see that in terms of the techniques and the domain knowledge, I think these are the 2 pillars that a digital marketer should be very, very good at. But you should be quite relatively comfortable in video content creation, graphic design, and web programming. No one asks you to be an expert there, but then again, you should be comfortable with it. I think someone with such skill sets now will strive very well as a digital marketer.
So now, because the individual may be already a subject matter knowledge domain person and they don't have the time, for example, they need to outsource it,
Right.
And they may not necessarily have a budget for an agency.
Right.
So what would then be important for them to pick up in order to find the right people to help them?
Sure. And before I answer that question, I want to talk a bit more about the domain knowledge. There was also this question, right? For mid-careers, is digital marketing really a suitable career switch and things like that? Actually, I honestly think the domain knowledge that they acquired perhaps over the last 15, 20 years, that's actually their unique selling point, right? So if I'm an accountant for the last 15 years, I totally know the industry very well. I know the pain points and the needs and all that. So I think if someone coming from the angle, you have the domain knowledge. I think the thing that you really got to beef up yourself personally is the technique. So I think you can't run away from that, because even if you employ people or you engage someone to do it for you, right, you really got to be quite familiar with the techniques, because if not, the person says what, you believe what. I don't think that's going to end well. Yeah. So I think the technique and the domain knowledge is so important. Now, of course, right, you won't have time to do the video, the graphic design, and the web programming. And engaging a full-fledged agency may not be the short-term solution. And my best answer to you is I also wanted to assure everyone there are many, many talents out there, right? In fact, there are communities out there where there are very outstanding video content producer, graphic designer, and web programming, and they do not want to be fully employed. They love being a freelancer. They strive being a freelancer. And they're waiting for many of these business owner, right, or digital marketer to actually connect with them. So it's really about, the networking, getting connected and finding that team, perhaps of freelancers that has the chemistry with you. Yeah. But nothing's going to happen if you don't make an effort to connect with them.
So in summary, what you're saying is with the domain knowledge itself, although you can outsource videography, graphic design, and tech web development, the part about owning how you would want to go through the different channels in terms of FG, LinkedIn would still be quite crucial so that you can actually monitor the different messages and how the campaigns perform.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, especially if you have limited resources, right? Of course, someone with a lot of resources, all he needs is domain knowledge. That's good enough, right? Everything you can pay for it. But
Yeah, correct.
if you really want to, bootstrap, I think something that you really got to pick up and really understand is actually all the different techniques. No one asks you to do it, but you can do it if you want. It's just that, maybe I can do it in half an hour, you need 3 hours, but you know what is going on, the familiarity and all that. I think that's very important.